this is how much money I spent producing Library of Eternity. Hello, my name is Natalie. I'm an author and a growth marketer, and I help writers accelerate their author career and reach new readers. Today is the launch day of Library of Eternity in English, and if you're curious about it, I will leave a link in the description box and you can check it out on Amazon. But to celebrate this, I wanted to give I want to go through everything I've paid up to this point to be able to actually publish this book. Because even if, I've chosen to go indie with most of my books, and despite doing that, I still have to pay professionals to help me get the books to become as good as they can be. And today I wanted to be fully transparent and share exactly how much money I spent on this book. So for those of you who don't know, The Library of Eternity is a fantasy book set in 1904 in this world. It's a portal fantasy with Norse mythology vibes. It's set in a magical library, which is sort of like a hub in the middle of the universe with all the portals to other dimensions and other worlds. But this library also has all the world's knowledge and all the stories that has ever been written or will ever be written in it. There are fairies working there, making sure that the universe is in balance. And I just had a lot of fun writing this book. It's sort of a prequel to the Forbidden Circle series that I'm launching this autumn. But I did realize, because I have the first book in the Forbidden Circle series is more or less already done. But I realized that I can't release, the first book in a 5-book series and then do a prequel like in the middle of releasing a series. So I decided to launch Library of Eternity first. But yeah, I spent, I think, 2 years writing it. Well, 2 years from me starting to write it to releasing it. So it's been a very fast process. So after I finished writing the book, I edited it, of course, and then I sent it off to my beta readers. I have beta readers that usually read my books, sort of a writing circle, which is switch manuscripts with each other every now and then and give feedback. This is really good because I know that they're great writers. I know that they are honest reviewers and readers. But when I did this, I also sent the manuscript to an editor. Yeah, and that editor looked at like the big pictures and stuff like that, the structural editing, the story hold up, how could I improve this story? That cost me around $1,200 or euros. I mean, I paid in Swedish kroners, and I'm not gonna check on like the exchange rate and stuff like that. So let's say that it was roughly around $1,200. And after that, I got the manuscript back and edited it again, of course. And during this time, I wasn't sure if I was going to go indie with it or if I was going to go with a publisher yet. I think I was planning on going indie, but then a publisher showed up and showed interest in the book, which made me really happy. And that publisher, was talking about making it a special edition and all of those things that you want to hear as an author, especially as a fantasy author. It's so important that the book looks good and everything like that. But I ended up signing over the print rights to that publisher. And those of you who have been following me for some time now know that I broke it off with that traditional publisher. I'll link the video to that in the description box if you're curious about what happened. But since I got a publisher, I did not have to pay for another round of edits because that's included when you have a traditional publisher. They will do like rounds of edits with you. So the second rounds of edit was with the publisher, so I did not pay for that, which saved me some money here. I think I estimate that it would have been around the same cost as the first edits if I would have had someone external do it for me. Like, just a comment on editing, having an editor. I do think that everyone who writes books needs to have an external person looking at their manuscripts and telling them what's working and what's not working, because we as authors tend to be so blind to our own books that we can't really see what's working and what's not. And that's fine, and that's normal. This is why you hire someone to do edits with you. And no, you don't have to do 2 rounds of edits, of course not. I had the opportunity to do this because the first rounds of edit, I had been, I'd sold an apartment and had some money over. And the second round, well, I didn't pay for that, so that was fine. But more than that, the next thing I had to pay for with my book was the cover design. So the Swedish version of the book looks like this. A beautiful, stunning cover. I really, really love it. And that cost me around $700. I think something like that, 700-ish. And I'm super pleased with it. I fought really hard to get that cover designer. But a problem I noticed when I ordered the proof for the English cover, because I was going to use the same cover for both the English and Swedish version of the book, but it didn't look good because of the framing of the cover. That just did not look good. When I used Amazon's print on demand, it kept on like, I'll just go and get the copy so you'll see it yourself. Well, as you can see here, like, it has a lot of space up here and no space at all here and here. And when I looked like in KDP at the preview, it looked like it was going to be all centered and look really good. You can see here on the back side as well. But as you can see, like, the framing just doesn't work using print on demand, using Amazon KDP. So I ended up ordering a second cover, and that cover, a new English cover. And that cover cost me, because it was a redesign, so it cost me $315, I think. So for all in all, both covers somewhere just above $1,000. And what more do you have to pay for when you're releasing a book? Well, you need a proofreader, of course. I published this book both in Swedish and in English. And in Swedish, it was, the book was still with the publisher back then. So the publisher proofread it, and a friend of mine proofread it for me. The friend did a better job, if I'm honest. She caught quite a few mistakes that the old publisher didn't catch, but so in Swedish I got that for free, and I will return the favor by helping my friend with her book launch later and with like marketing plan and everything. So that is a way for you if you want to cut costs. And for the English version, I had a proofreader that costs around $200. And she did a great job. But other costs that I had to cover also was so when I translated the book, I used DeepL for the first rough translation, and then I bought a pro writing aid to help me go through it, make sure that I had American English and not British English, because I do tend to mix them up quite a bit since English isn't my native language. So I use pro writing aid. I'm not going to include that in how much the book costs, but know that it is a part of I bought pro writing aid to be able to translate all of my books later and help me with like going through making sure that everything is as good as it can be. And then I paid for the proofreader to go through it and check the last bits. More than that, as a marketing tactic now during like pre-launch, before launching the English version of the book, I bought a Goodreads giveaway so that as many people as possible can get their hands on the ebooks for a cheap price. I hope that people will love the book as much as I loved writing it. That cost me $119 as well. And I think those are all the main costs that I paid for when it comes to this book, at least. I am going, a friend of mine is doing the audiobook in Swedish, and we have planned so that I'm not paying her anything upfront, but we will share all the revenue from the streaming instead. And this is like something that you can do. You can do revenue share if you don't want to pay for it upfront, or you'll pay for it upfront if you're doing an audiobook. But in Sweden, like audio is so big that you need to have a plan for it. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a growing format internationally also. But know that, like, I think that the AI voices for audio in Swedish is, I mean, they're good, but they're not perfect. They're a lot better in English, since most of the language models are trained on the English language. But more than that, I did do all of the formatting of the book, both the ebook and the print books myself. So I cut costs on that. And I have done all of the marketing myself. I've been working really hard posting on TikTok and on Instagram for months and months, and that has helped making sure that the Swedish launch was a good success. I got a lot of, I think, like more than 23 libraries here in Sweden even bought the book, which feels amazing. That is not something that you can just take for granted. So I'm really, really happy with the fact that even libraries bought it in the book, and we'll see how the English launch goes. I hope that it goes well. You watching this, maybe you'll be curious about the book. I don't know, but I did manage to cut some costs doing things myself, but also asking friends for help and like helping them with stuff, and they'll help me with stuff. But all in all, now I'm going to count how much money we spent on this book. With this calculation, I have not included how much the first print run of, because I have the Swedish books I have at a warehouse here in Sweden that is connected to setting up a book in Sweden that is different from internationally, and doing it via Amazon makes it's very different here in Sweden. So I did not include those very Swedish specific costs, how much the first print run costs and stuff like that, because that will depend on where you're printing them, how many books you're storing and stuff like that. So I'm not including those costs. But apart from those costs, the book costs around $2,500 to make, more or less, and that's more than I thought it costs, I guess. But it's also less than I was afraid that it would cost. But I did, as I said, manage to cut some costs, and I will like. I've learned a lot along the way, but I also know that I need to have some sort of buffer. I need to have some money to be able to produce as good books as possible. This is also why I've waited to launch a lot of these books, because I needed money within my company to be able to afford to hire good editors, good cover designers and stuff like that. These are so important when it comes to selling a book. So I think that it was worth waiting a few years to make sure that I had more to invest within my books, because I want them to stand the test of time in the long run as much as possible. And the best way for them to do that is, of course, to do the groundwork and lay a good foundation. So yeah, that's all. If you want me to make more videos like this, let me know. Hit the like button and subscribe. And if you feel like sharing how much you've spent on one of your books, I would love to hear it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye.